Hey, fellas, looks like I got two in the room. I'm kind of brand new at this. I've never done it before, so I'm trying to figure it out myself. What I really want to do is figure out how to show some video. If you're in the room, go ahead and type your name in, and we'll start going. Dashboard. Let's see. Let's see if we can figure this out. All right. There's not anyone in here. How do I do this? All right, looks like we got five in here, but I can't see it. So type your name in the chat, and I really want to be able to show video, and I'm trying to figure out how to do it. Let's see, share. Guess I need to send this out. There, I just sent the link out there. Send the link out here. All right. All right, I sent the link out. Looks like we got seven in the room, and I really just want to be able to share my video so I can show it to you. Can you guys can you type in the chat box? Let me see here. Messages are invisible. All right. So type your name in there so I know who's here. I got a two thumbs up. Uh I'm just trying to figure out how to show my video. What I wanted to do was just go through our tunnel screens. I've got the cut ups. We threw it 13 times last year, and I didn't realize it, but we only threw it to the left last year, just because that's where our stud was. This year we got studs on both sides, so we'll be going both ways with it. All right, I see you there, Chuck. Appreciate you showing me you're here. I think we got eight guys here. Uh, and I hate to say this, but if anyone knows how I can show the video, just type it in the box because I'm not sure how to do it, and I really want to just show you the video. And then after that, we'll talk. I'll talk our tunnel screens. I'll show you. Heck, I'll show you all 13 of them from last year if you want. And then we'll just go Q&A. Anything you want, we'll talk about. Topics will be open. I really wanted to be able to, if you had a screen you wanted to show, I wanted to be able to do that too. Doggone it, how do I do this? Let me see. I'm just kind of pushing buttons right here. This thing is supposed to be super easy to do. And menu, okay, message. Mm, Let me see if this does it. Let's see. All right. Add stream maker, share, menu. Do that. I'll get this thing figured out here in a second. Just stick with me because I really do want to show you this video. Uh, gonna call the George and see if he can show me how to do it. Hey man, I'm on this live stream, but I can't figure out do it. I can show video on this, can I? All right. So did you show video when you did it? All right. So how do you do that? How do you share your screen? I mean, it's just showing me basically, and I got guys here. I got like 8 guys in the chat already, but I can't figure out how to show my screen. I got an edit button right here. Let me see what happens there. No, that ain't what I wanted. I just can't figure out how to show. I got clips pulled up that I want to show them, and then we'll do the Q&A. But I can't figure out how to share my screen and show them. Engage with you. Engage with your audience. All right, let me see. All right. Well, yeah, play around with it. See if you can, because I got some clips I want to show. All right, thanks. All right. I did this because George says it was so easy, and now, of course, it's not as easy as he said. So let's just go. Let's go to questions, and then he's going to call me back once he figures out how I can share my screen and show you clips. Tunnel screen was big for us last year. It's going to be even bigger for us this year. That now that we got super good athletes on both sides. So I didn't realize it when I pulled the clips. We ran it 13 times, and it was to the left every single time. Now we double read it, and I've got a couple videos out there on it how we double read it. But so it went to the right to the running back and went to the house a few times, but we were only running that tunnel coming left and swing going right. So go ahead. Let's do Q&A. Any air raid topic, put it in. We'll talk about it. We'll talk through anything you want to talk about, any plays, and then when George gets back to me on this deal, I'll pull up the cut ups and show them to you. But I appreciate you being here, and let's have some fun. Let's go ahead and throw your questions out. We'll talk about anything you want to talk about. Thanks, Cody. What's your answer for Mike, who's good at getting under the stick route on stick or spot routes on Y corner? Good question. We don't have a lot of it, but every once in a while, especially in 7-on-7, when they're already cheating over there, uh, what we've done, and George convinced me to do it, and then being in Tennessee with Hal, is I finally changed the backside of it. For years, I've been 2 hitches on the backside of all quick routes except for 7 and 9. That one was the only mirrored one, but they finally taught me into it where H is running the slant into the middle, and X is running the 5 yard fin, and it's been a game changer. So in your question, Mike's running out of there, so they're sending the outside backer is chasing shoot, and the Mike backer's running hard underneath Mike, and we've thrown picks on that before. Now we've got the H running the slant and kind of replacing that territory because there's only one backer out there left. So now we've got H on the slant and then X on the fin, and the fin has been just about unstoppable, which was how George convinced me to do it. Was just saying how devastating the fin was. And there's something about that angle of going, it's not a slant anymore. It's a 5 yard and then straight vertical across. There's just something about that is just about unstoppable. So they got to decide on the backside which one are they going to stop. If they chase the slant, the fin's wide open. If they hang for the fin, then obviously running the mic out of there like that would open up the middle for the easy completion on the slant. And we do the exact same thing on Y corner. So changing those two routes on the backside, and that's what Hal has done for years. Uh, I, I don't know if he ran the fin for years, but I think now he's doing the fin. But he's always run that inside slant, and uh, and a lot of guys tell them not to cross the center. That once he gets there, he's either stopping or he's working vertical on it, but he's not going to run across the center. So there's one answer. Uh, the cheap answer would be it doesn't happen that often. That we run counter so much that guy can't. It's not like passing league where he can cheat out of there. He's got to hang in the box, especially when those walk players. They're halfway in, they're playing edge of the box, they're doing all those things that they like to do. So I think for the most part, on stick at least, it's a 2-on-1 game. That guy can't be right. The mic can't get over there fast enough. Especially, I hope you've gone to and honestly, I've just did it this spring and this summer so far. Is we went to the stick as a 3-step stop instead of a 5-step stop. So Hal has become really big on that idea that uh, run that stick route at 4 yards instead of 5 or 6. And now that guy can't undercut you like he normally would. And it's happened to us in 7-on-7 where even when that might, they're cheating like crazy in 7-on-7, but he still, when he runs to it, he's running over the top of it, and we're catching underneath him, and a lot of times catching underneath him and turning up, and now he's not even a factor on it. So those two things, the shortening the route to a 4-yard hitch, 3 steps for us, and then putting that backside slant on there has made a difference. But honestly, since I'm talking about one thing over and over, is the biggest difference on stick happened last year with us, and it happened when Phil Longo started talking about reading in between those two routes. That the quarterback gets his eyes kind of between where the stick is going to be and where the shoot's going to be, so he can read them at the same time. And we turned, for years I was a swing only guy, and I've turned into a shoot route guy on that just because it gets out so much faster. So that, especially early in the year, that has been that had really made a difference for us last year. So 3 things on stick: read it at the same time by putting your eyes between the stick and the shoot, so he can see them at the same time. We changed the stick down to 4 yards instead of 5. That's a Hal Mummy thing. And then putting the slant and the fin on the backside of it has made a big difference. Uh, let me see. Chuck said backside number 1, 5-yard square in. Number 2, attack inside shoulder of the walk and gets vertical or bends and replaces the mic. Yes. Chuck, that's exactly what we're saying. And those 3 things I think really protect it. When you're going with the Y corner, here's what I almost got rid of it. As a matter of fact, on my spring insertion, it was not going to be on there, and George convinced me at the last second to go with what we're calling 8, which is our Y corner quick game route. And uh, I can't remember if it was George or no. I think it was Shane. Shane Dular was the one who convinced me that I had trouble. I had trouble conceptualizing the play and teaching the play like uh like it just didn't click in my brain the way other plays do. But Shane talked me into just conceptualizing it as a 9 call. So our slant shoot combination would be he would turn, we're calling a 9 on the right. He would look slant on the backside, slant on the play side, shoot on the play side. So slant, slant, shoot is the progression. Well, now when you're running Y corner, conceptually, now it turns into corner slant shoot. And that has changed everything in my mind, and it really changed it for our quarterback. So now 8 went from being probably, was out of the insertion list completely. I wasn't going to run it at all. It's just never been a big play for us in the past, just because it didn't click in my brain. And now, so far in passing league season and in spring practice, it's turned into a huge play. Now we've got about a 6'4" Y that can run, so that helps that helps things. But just conceptually thinking corner slant shoot, really cleaned up the thought process for me and for the quarterback. And we still have now on the backside with that inside slant, the H running the inside slant. Now we're really only thinking about him if a linebacker is showing a blitz, and then that fin is a pre-snap where he just decides he likes it. And if that walk is chasing the slant, then that fin is going to be open. So same backside, but the thought process is what made a difference for me anyway, as conceptualizing that thing as corner slant shoot and thinking of it as it's just a 9 call. And don't ask me why that was such a problem for me in the past, conceptualizing it that way. But it cleaned it up for me and it cleaned it up for my quarterback. All right, now the questions are rolling in pretty good. Let's see. Coach, we went from four verts to vertical choice. I bet you loved it. Using your rules. When we tag the inside receiver to run the choice, the slot defender usually gets in the way if he runs the stop. The slot defender. All right, so uh, it's almost going to be like the old way. He doesn't get in the way for us. That when we go, let's see, are you talking about doing it out of 2x2 or 3x1? Because typically when we're going inside guy, we're doing it out of 3x1. So he's the middle guy and the three, and usually they'll line the walk up either between 2 and 3 or on top of two, and he just has to outside release that thing, and it turns into that one of those. He's going to outside release. He's got to beat the walk player, but he's still reading the safety. So it ends up being about a 10-yard curl, basically, where this walk player might be forcing him wide, so he kind of fish hooks it, and then fish hooks it back into the open space. So that's how it's been working for us. And a lot of times, because we run number 3 on a very skinny, very very skinny vertical skinny post, he takes the safety, the corner takes number 1, and a lot of times that number 2 is just running straight vertical down the field for an easy touchdown. So that's what we've experienced so far. Every once in a while that walk will try to collision number 2, and we're just working our release routes on them, dropping our shoulder, ripping, and trying to attack outside shoulder. There's been a few times when they're super aggressive about they want to be outside. We'll tell our guy to start working outside shoulder. And then if the easiest release is to get back inside of them to get vertical, we've allowed them to do that. But choice has been a game changer for us. And even though it's mainly outside guys, just seeing if George called me back. Yeah, he did. All right. Just seeing if it's outside guys. Usually it's outside guys running choice, but we still have a lot of success with inside guys, and we have a lot of success with the skinny on the choice side because the safety wants to jump over top of the outside guy. So the way we teach it, and this is the words I use, is we say we want you to be so skinny that the safety doesn't realize you're running a skinny, that he thinks you're running a vertical. So we're telling him literally to attack the inside shoulder. So we're working vertical, and then we just want to be barely at his inside shoulder so that if he moves, we're wide open. But we're not skinny enough that other safety has a chance to jump over and get on top of it, because we're still not running those other two guys on verticals. We're still letting them run, and we've done a better job at this. We're letting them run 3-step stops, but they're coming off the ball, head down, arms pumping. So it looks initially like they got to look like they're running 96, and all of a sudden they slam on the brakes. So now that safety might try to help over the top. So we want that thing to be so skinny that the other safety can't help. Uh, Let me read this question one more time to make sure I answered everything. Coach, we went from four verts to vertical choice using your rules. When we tag the inside receiver to run choice, the slot defender usually gets in the way if he runs to stop. All right, so I guess you're I guess you might be talking about 2 by 2, and it's the same thing for us. That even the walk defender, typically he's either head up or inside shoulder of the slot. We're taking an outside release on him, but we're working. We're saying this guy's invisible. We're working outside shoulder on him and working vertical, and we're making our decision off the safety. When the safety and obviously unless he's rolling down, we're not going to be able to touch the safety. So we're slamming on the brakes, and it's just a matter of working back inside. So we're fish hooking back inside because for this walk player to screw with us, he's got to expand. As he expands, we'll expand a little bit and then fish hook inside of him. And there's usually a lot of grass in there to be able to get that completion on that. I hope I answered that right. If I didn't, just ask me again in a different way. But I think that's what I think that's we don't have that problem with the walk defender getting in the way. Uh, any suggestions on how to fix that? That's the one I just talked about. All right. Backside number one, 5 yard inside. That was the one Chuck was talking about, and he answered it exactly right. Matt, we put it in this spring, and it's been a huge and passing league. Look forward to it this fall. All right, that was on the choice route. Yeah, and it's been huge for it. We have thrown, and it's only passing league. Only offensive guys get excited about passing league. We have thrown more long touchdown passes this summer so far. We've only had one. I think we might be in week 2. I can't remember, but we've either had 1 week or 2. We had 2 weeks. We had 3 7-on-7s, 2 college tournaments, and when we had a bunch of people over at our place, we had 3 passing league tournaments the first week, and then we've had 3 practices last week. We have thrown more long, like one play touchdowns than ever before in my career. And they're coming off of 95, they're coming off of 94, and they're coming off of 96, which is the choice. So it's been huge for us also. It's one of those I can't believe we did it any other way. I mean, it's just been a game changer for us. All right. Matt, yes, 2 by 2. Yeah. So we're not having that problem. I'll be honest with you. The problem that we have out of it is that other safety. If we don't sell those routes good enough on the offside, that other safety coming across and getting a piece of it. So that's been our only problem. The walk player. Sometimes, I mean, we and don't get me wrong, we're getting our ass kicked sometimes. That walk player, if he's just bigger and more physical than us, he can kind of beat you down. We usually don't have that problem with our Y because he's a big kid, but our H is a little guy, so that can happen. It happens every once in a while, but it doesn't. It's not been any kind of real problem. Our problem has more been we really got to sell the offside to keep that safety home long enough, because if he can digest it quick enough, he'll jump over and get involved in the play, and that lets this safety run across the outside guy, and then this safety take the inside guy, so they got us outnumbered there. So that's been our only problem. But I think curling and moving to the grass there, that's just good old fashioned noose drill. And we do work that hard and routes on air. We got those big traffic cones out there, and we work that where they really do a good job of sticking their foot in the ground and working back inside into the grass. So curl more instead of returning down. Yeah, it's a curl. It's not. We're not down the stem at all. It's a curl. They're putting their foot in the ground and they're working. This guy's working this way. We're working away from them. Then we're fish hooking back into the basically noose drill. And that's what we tell them. We say it's noose. Get into the grass. Do you run both 94 and 95 from trips? I'll be honest with you, man. We've let me see. We have not been running it from trips very much. I know we screwed around with this one shot yesterday against our defense because George has been Uh, that sucker. When we get the team, we're doing good in Skelly against them. But when we get the team, his blitz level has gone to the next level. We really have trouble right now. Our O line is not to where it needs to be, and he's just murdering us in team. But we switched it the other day and ran 94. Uh, we ran 94 with putting the Y as number three, just so we could go trip. So we went slot right, but we switched those two and went 94. But we really haven't. We've been struggling on it. I know on 95. Which one have we done? We've done 95 where we went slot left, and basically it turns into like a sail route looking thing to the left. We've had success with that one, and and we will run 95 out of slot right, and and that one seems fine too. So slot right 95 is fine. We've messed around with slot left 95. Oh man, no, I take it back. We've gone 94 when we were at the NC State tournament. We always had to start on the right hash. So we were going slot left 94. So he was still running just a sail route, but he was basically running from the left side of the O line, and he was running it across. And we told him it's the same play, and it timed up fine. Uh, so we were going slot left 94. That was a huge play at the NC State tournament. We threw a ton of touchdowns off of that, uh, and it really almost gave us more time. Like I really liked it a little better coming from slot left because it took more time for him to get across, and that gave the quarterback time to really take a good look at the skinny before coming off to it. When they're especially if you're a little, you're not on the right hash, but you're a little to the right. He kind of runs out of room where he's on the sail route where he catches it and then runs out of bounds almost. So it gave him more room to work with, and it timed up real good. So slot left 94 was good. I'm trying to write here so I remember the stuff. Slot left 94 was good, and we messed around with slot right 95 and slot left 95. So those are the three. Those are the ones that we run. But it's a little screwy. You got to kind of play around with it, and we haven't done a lot of, like compressing them. What are they? Smart splits. We haven't messed around a whole lot with smart splits to try to kind of get them. We might be calling it slot right, but we're moving them over and getting them where he can be, in a better spot yet. And we might get to that. I don't know yet. Uh, Let's see. I'm looking at Nate. Do you run both 94, 95 from trips? If so, how does that change things? So the only of those three examples I gave you, slot right 95, slot left 95, and slot left 94. Slot left 95 is the only one that significantly changes the route, because now he's on the left, but he's running Y cross. So basically, we're telling him to go up 10 yards and do a speed cut to the left. So you could say that's different, or you could say you're just running the same route across. Uh, the other ones, they're doing the exact same stuff. Nothing changes except sometimes the shallow. We run it with a shallow. We run it off of play action with a shallow, both of them. So sometimes the shallow guy goes a different direction. The running back, the running back will be like slot right. The running back will be on the left. So we're play action in this way. He's running to the right and the shallow's running across to the left. So it changes the shallow, but the main routes, nothing changes, exact same. And we're trying to read it the exact same way. Like the progression is the exact same. All right. Let's see. I'm looking at Chuck, 5 yard square in and skinny slant bender is a great replacement for double slants as well. We call it Dino. All right. Let me draw that up because I kind of like the sound of that. Let's see. So the I'm calling that a fin. I don't know. Am I calling that right? Is a 5 yard square in? Do people call that the fin? Uh, so 5 yard square in and a skinny slant bender. Yeah. So that's the deal that we're doing on the backside, and it's a good replacement for double slant as well. Okay, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. And George was right. That dang, I was not a big fan of the slant shoot has been so good to me over the years. I really didn't want to replace it. But that dang 5-yard square end, something about the angles, the geometry of that, it's near impossible to cover. And George even likes it versus man. I mean, he says when he was at a different place, he said anytime he saw man, which to me, I'm calling 8 when I know they're running man because I know I can get the easy corner out. But he's saying when he saw man, he would tell him to go back to the fin side because that was unstoppable versus man. And to be honest with you, in one-on-one routes, it has been unstoppable versus man. So it's a nasty deal. I saw I was at a spring practice at UNC last year, and I saw them running it, and it intrigued me, but I didn't pull the trigger until George finally convinced me. Matt, thanks for being here, buddy. Nate, are you still locked in on the token play action fake and sending them back under on 94? Yeah, we're that's the way we're doing it. Uh, Now, when we got to the playoffs last year, we only had 95 last year. We didn't do it with 94. But in the playoffs, we decided that just so it wouldn't be a tip off every time, we did it without play action, and we sent the H on a I don't know what you call it. We call it a weird angle. So if a stick route looks like this, we were calling a weird angle where we were just running a stick route, but he was going out because in the first game we played against those guys, the walk player came over and stole one of those from us when it was on the backside, like the quarterback was going backside and throwing the hitch on the backside when we were running double slants. So we started calling it weird angle where he would run. The angle was taking him away from the walk player. And we did that with just a check swing on it. So I guess we could still do that. We just need to have a word. But so far we've just been straight play action. And remember, we don't have any play action. So pretty much when our quarterback takes the ball and goes down with it, that says run to defenses for us because we just don't have any play action. So it's been pretty dang effective as far as at least freezing the linebackers for a second and letting all that stuff happen. But heck, our Y is running 95 cross so well that I don't even know it matters. Like in passing league, hell, they ain't they're too deep when they start and they're backing up, and we're nailing 95. I mean, we've got everyone open on 95. They'll usually start double teaming the skinny post because we're nailing so many easy touchdowns on the skinny post. Then the Y cross starts tearing them up, and the backside curl on 95 and 94 has been tearing them up. So I mean, everything is open on that, even in passing league. Uh, so it's been good, but we're gonna stay with the play action. Uh, but it is an easy switch. If you just had a word that said, "All right, don't play action this time," you could run. You can do something. You can run an option route with your H. I think that's how they did it in the old days anyway. Was they'd run, when there were two in the backfield, they would run that H out on the option route and then have 95 over the top of it. And then I used to watch cut ups from Leach and they would do some kind of return route on the on with 94. He ran 94 so much, so they would do some kind of return route with the third guy. So lots of different things to do, but we're sticking with the play action. It's been good to us so far. Hey coach, is it necessary to install six in the quick game, or do you leave it for the drop back game? Uh, if you're talking six as vertical, I pretty quick changed that number to 96 because it's a 90 game for us. So even before we went to choice route, six became 96 because it fit in that family better. So that's a three-step drop by the quarterback. Now 96 has turned into choice route for us. So we get so it fits. So our insertion, we do 96 the first day, which is choice route now. We do 95 the second day, and we do 94 the third day, and then 92 has its own period. So we carry four 90s, and then we carry slant shoot as a quick game. We carry stick route as a quick game, and we carry Y corner, which we call eight. We carry that as a quick game. So those are the different ones. We don't carry that deal, that vert out deal, which is it's a great quick game route. Uh, and Stan even said, which is something to think about. I thought about it, I just didn't do it. Where Stan said it wouldn't be a bad idea to have eight on one side, have Y corner on one side, and have vert quick out on the other side, and then read it by and decide by coverage, which way you're going to go. If it's three deep, we're going to go this way. If it's two deep, we're going to go this way. That was one suggestion Stan made that made a lot of dang sense. Stan is a friggin' genius at this stuff, and but that was one of his things. I think he does consulting for different teams, and I think that's one thing he tells them to do. They might want to think about doing so. Uh, but if you're talking about vertical game, we long time turn six, what Hal calls six. We called that 96 for a long time now, just because it in my brain, and my brain's not that big in the first place. So in my brain, it made more sense to call it 96 instead of six. Uh, I did get a text back from George, and I can't understand what it said. I think he's telling me to go into a different browser to be able to show video. So uh, you have to download this. I have a streaming software, so I didn't have to do that. All right, so I can't show the cut ups. I, that's my bad. This is our first time doing this, so next time we do it, I try to do this once every couple months. Uh, and next time we do it, I'll try to make sure I can show film, because I really did want to show tunnel screen. And really, what I wanted to do, and we'll do this for next time. Maybe we'll get together in July sometime and do this. Is what I really want to do is like have everyone come in and bring their best screen, and everyone show it. So I'll have to work out the technology. I'll have to get with George and figure out how to do that technology wise. But just everyone should come in and say, "Hey, this is my best screen. This is my best screen. This is my best screen," and just show the clips and kind of coach everyone up, and then we can steal everyone's best screen. Uh, I do have, man, I got a killer screen. This thing. It's basically a tunnel screen, but it comes off of counter action, and it looks exactly like counter trade coming at you. Of course, where all great screens come from. It came from Lincoln Riley when he was at Oklahoma, but it's a nasty one. But I haven't. I need to get the drone up at practice and get it videoed so I can do a YouTube video for it. But it's a nasty, nasty screen, especially if you're a counter guy. Like we're so dominant counter, but if you can imagine counter, I mean, it looks like counter. You're pulling people, your running backs running up in there. It looks like counter, and all of a sudden, bam, you got tunnel screen coming out off of it. So it's a really, really good one that I just don't have video on it yet. But tunnel screen was probably our most explosive screen for us last year, and of course, we're going to run 10,000 quick screens. That's our deal. All right. Let's see. This is K Betty. I just purchased your play calling video on Coach Tube, and it was so informative. I appreciate that video. Thanks, buddy. That video has opened up our boundary side playbook, reading the wall defender. Game changer. Yeah, yeah. So uh, and I'll be honest with you, Hal, he is an artist calling plays. George is an artist calling play. George struggled when I had him up in the box on offense. He struggled with this. He could not keep his eyes just over there because he can see the whole field. And Shane's that way. Shane sees the whole field at once. I'm just not that good. So the way we do it, we're reading. I'm reading the near side, the box is reading the far side, and the O line coach is reading the box. It's been the best way for us. And it's just a matter of, they got to, I tell them, keep saying it until I call it. Cause if you think it's there, just say it. And here's another little tip. And I don't know if I said this in the Coach Tube course. Uh, uh, I always tell them, don't tell me what they're doing. Tell me what play to call. If you want your plays to get called, don't tell me, hey, the walk player's doing this. Don't tell me that. I can't. I'm thinking about my side. So that doesn't help me. Tell me, throw the Roger or throw the hitch or throw the slant or throw the vert. Tell me what to throw. And that does a better job of getting into my brain while I'm thinking about my side. Because I told them I'm gonna dominate my side. I need the box guy to dominate the far sideline, and I need the O line coach to dominate the box. And I want them thinking that way. I want you to dominate your side, your portion of the field. So don't tell me, I don't need an O line coach telling me they're spilling us. Don't tell me that. Tell me run this, run the outside zone. That's tell me what to run. Don't tell me what they're doing. All right. Coach, did you end up replacing Dart last season? We did not have Dart in last season. I'm trying to think what we had, and I'll tell you what we're doing this year. I think last year, of course, we had counter, we had outside zone. I think I replaced it. I was going to try to run an option play that Shane gave me a couple years ago. I had Shane come in and do a whole clinic on it, and I just haven't been able to make it work. I'm just not as smart as Shane, and I'm not as disciplined as Shane. But we had that speed option in as our third one, and then power. So last year we were carrying four of everything. This year we're 3-day insert. We're only carrying three of everything. So we just dropped the speed option, and it's I say we dropped it. It's still a tag off of the most simplest version of speed option. Is still a tag off of outside zone, and it's going to get called 3-4 times all year. But the most simplest version, just pitch off the end, and you're probably going to pitch it. You're going to run straight at the guy and pitch it. That the most simplest speed option. That's still a tag option off of outside zone. But we this year we are counter, outside zone, and power, and we're running power all the different ways. We'll get in two backs and run traditional power O. We'll get in 2x2 and read it across, and then we'll get in 2x2 and do the little pitch thing that Clemson used to do. So yes, we've dropped it, and here's the cheat, because we cheat too. We always blame defense, but we'll cheat too. Is the cheat is I always felt like if we needed it. And Dart saved us a few times over the years. Like someone they just had, a D1 kid, and we couldn't kick him, and he was kicking our tail, and so we went to Dart, and it saved us. But I just felt like it's so friggin' similar that if it was an emergency, and we had to have Dart in the game, I think we could just draw the dang thing up and run it. I mean, what are you telling them? We're telling play side tackle base. We're telling play side backside guard to stay, and we're telling backside tackle to do it just like counter. So I think if we had to, if we needed it, like if it was this was it, the whole world's on the line. I think we could draw that sucker up on the sideline and do pretty good at it without even practicing it. So that's my thought. We didn't do it last year. We never ran it last year. Really, probably haven't run it. We had it inserted the year before, but didn't run it. We didn't need it, but I just feel in my gut, I think, man, if we had to have it, we really, really needed it, we could draw that sucker up on the sideline and run it. So that's my thought anyway. It's not tested. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. Uh, uh, K Betty, for red zone and 10 going in purposes, have you ever experimented with double tight formations? Yeah, we run I know it's in the course, and I think I've done a video on it before. We run what we call Kong. It's I got it from like a legendary North Carolina coach who now is down in South Carolina kicking tail. Uh, so we run it's basically double tight, but it's unbalanced. So we have a unbalanced tight end on the backside, and we have tackle over on the front side, and it's smash mouth time. And we were running power O up in your butt. We'll usually bring a couple guys over from defense just to bring some meanness and some tail to us. And we're usually direct snapping it to our best player, and we're running we're running power O up in there, and that's been probably for the last 10 years. That's been my go-to 10 and in, and it's always been good to us. And it's going to be even better this year because our best kid this year, he can throw it too. He's dang. So we've always had a pass play that went along with it, and we've never called it in a game. This might be the dang year. So you better be ready. But we finally got a kid who can throw it. So now, we've always had a pass. Basically, we got power of both directions, and we've got a sweep, and we used to have a quick screen out there, and then we've always had a pass off of it, but we've never ever called the pass in the game. We've called it in championship a few times, but this might be the year because we got a kid he's a runner and he can throw it. He's got a nice arm, got a nice touch. So this might be the year. But yes, we do have a smash mouth formation that we get into. We also just answering that last question. We also now we will go deuce, which is two tights and two flankers and still one back in the backfield. We'll do that. And that used to be a great like boot waggle formation for us back in the day when we used to carry that naked that Hal loves so much. Uh, so we can do it, and we can do it a lot this year. I mean, we got some bigger dudes this year, so that might I've always liked that formation. I used to like it back in the day when the Houston Oilers used to run double tight and have Earl Campbell running it in the out of the eye. So I've always appreciated that. How much? Hey buddy, David Butler. Appreciate you jumping in here, buddy. How much empty do you use? Not very much. I mean, we've got it. We've got all the pretty formations, but we don't run it that much. We're pretty vanilla. I mean, people make fun of me. We don't motion very much, and we're pretty much we're gonna run 2 by 2. We're gonna run 3 by 1, and we got a couple bunch formations that like to run, and that's about it. I mean, we're not gonna formation you to death. I am going to use that. I did the video on Stan Bedwell's outlaw play. I am going to have that in. I like that a lot. But we don't do a lot of no backs. Uh, just because I mean the honestly because choice route has been so strong, because counter has been so strong, and our screen game has been so strong. Uh, we just haven't done it a whole lot, and I catch myself like I did it in the playoffs this year. We start getting into a big game, and I start friggin' tinkering too much, and it ends up costing me. So I've just found, the true philosophy of, man, we're going to out rep you. We're going to do what we do, and we're going to out rep you. That has been the best one for me so far. And when I start tinkering around too much and drawing too much crap up, it ends up biting me in the tail. So I'm older now. I'm grayer now, so I got to be smarter now. Chuck, we run speed option with power blocking rules to play side. Leave Inman on line of scrimmage unblocked and option him. Place our guy pulls and wraps to play side linebacker. Yeah, we've done it that way before, and that might be the easiest way, to be honest with you. We went outside zone rules and just tell the tackle. That we're gonna if it's an even front, we're gonna try to run around the defensive end and get to play side backer. And if he can't, then he's just gonna come underneath them, like work underneath them and then try to work back out. But we run it so it's to me very similar to our outside zone philosophy anyway. That we're not gonna invest a tremendous amount of time on outside zone. We're bucket cross run. I mean, that's our rules on outside zone, because it's basically a gimme play. They got to squeeze so hard on counter that outside zone's a gimme when we call it, and that's pretty much how it is on speed option. We're not going to put a whole lot of time into it. So I might steal it. I might run it off of power. We've done it that way before, and then I felt like, well, if they switch, they got you. But hell, we're running it so seldom, they're not going to switch on us. They ain't going to know what happened. So but we also we read it. We read toss power, so it's almost the same deal. When they're it's that underhanded toss, and the backs flying out, and then the quarterback's reading the defensive end, and so it's basically speed option that way too. So uh, you know what is it? 50 cents one, half dime on the other, and a nickel one, half dime on another. I don't know. Anyway, I've done it that way, and you're probably right. That's probably simpler teaching. especially if you're only going to call the dang thing 5 times. All right. Okay, Betty, I utilized the outlaw play last season for our 12U team, and trust me, you will love it. I trust you. I'm putting that in. I'm surprised I haven't put it in yet, but we're going to do it. I liked it. Stan, I'm telling you, Stan's a freaking genius now. Sean, why don't you motion much? We have found we get built-in leverage and uh, QG with simple motion. Uh, just I guess years ago, and it might be time. It might be time for me to do more motions. We've screwed around a little bit of motion with mesh, but I just there was a point where I said, all right, do I want to be a motion guy? Do I want to be a tempo guy? And in my mind, and again, my mind's not the smartest sometimes. In my mind, I couldn't be both. So I either wanted to have a good motion system or I wanted to just be able to go fast. And to me, if I really want to go fast, I can't be motioning people around and going fast. Although I've seen it, I'm with you. I've seen people do it, but I haven't been able to do it. So I think I just kind of steered away from it. And to be honest with you, hell, when we're changing formations and going fast, it looks like motion. When you're going from 2 by 2 to a bunch right, it looks like motion if you're snapping the ball pretty quick. So I always said that was part of it. We run a jet and we run a jet motion with it. And I've avoided putting, the whole package of jet in there, but probably going to end up having to do that. But just personal preference, not I know guys, most everyone I know makes fun of me for not doing more motion, so I know there's huge advantages to it. Cal, hey man, how you doing? My middle school coach is in here. Uh, Same with us. We are a wide zone team, and rules are just about the same. Good, good. So you're that outside zone. That's night. Uh, Outside zones their play, and they're pretty much bucket cross run. So we're on the right path, but we just don't. It's just not a play. Like we invest a lot of time in counter, but outside zone, we're just trying to be proficient because it's a gimme when we call it. Chuck power read. We run power every way you can run it. Uh, Here's one. I'll give you one tip, and if you're a power read guy, then you already know this. But George hounded me and hounded me and hounded me on this. And when he was at Lane College, they found out that if they back the quarterback up one step, so instead of toes at 5, they're putting toes at 6, that power read works a lot better. And we've gone to that. And I hate when I got to tell George he's right, but he was right. Power read, it works a lot better if you just take that quarterback one step deeper. It just everything times up better, and you got he's got just 1 second more to make a decision. So that's a good way to do it. Hey Betty, why don't you utilize motion either? Like we don't utilize motion either because we are a tempo team and we want our QB to see the defense set so you can take proper reads and adjustment. And that's I'm glad you said that because I got this years ago, and it's defense. I went to the Black Mountain FCA camp, and they had the DB coach there from the Colts, and he was talking about it was the year the Colts won the Super Bowl, and if you remember, they were doing bad, and then all of a sudden, like right before the playoffs, they got everyone healthy, and then boom, they shot through the playoffs and won the Super Bowl. That he said there was one safety that was hurt, and that safety was the difference maker because the way he fit into the box on the backside was the difference in their defense. But he made the point. I might get screwed up this story. I think it was him, but it might have their OC was there also, and it might have been the OC that was saying it was that they didn't do 1,000. At that point I was young and I was like all air raid guys. Well, we're going to run 1,000 formations in 7 plays. But what he said was, and I think I screwed up the story. I think it was the offensive coordinator was saying this was they didn't want to get in a bunch of formations because they wanted to know where those guys were. And when you get into too much of an exotic formation, or when you start doing too much, you're not exactly sure where they're lined up. Well, that's why if I'm 2 by 2, I know how they line up to it. If I'm 3 by 1, I know how they line up to it. Yeah, they might roll safeties one way or the other, but I want to know where they are. I don't want to give them something funky and have them scrambling around because I don't know how they're going to line up. And I do better when I know where they're at. So that was, I think, part of the thought process, and that might have even figured into why I'm not a motion guy. Is just I want to get in base looks because then I know where you are, and then I know how to attack you. So that's and again, now I'm hard headed. So that doesn't mean it's not the only way. I know Shane is very multiple. George is very multiple. They both love motion, so there's a lot of ways to do it. But that's just my thinking on it, uh, and I'm hard headed. So take it for what it's worth. Uh, Nate, outside of quick screen, do you throw anything else out of the trips bunch? Uh, no, we do every once in a while we'll throw something, and I'll tell you the number one thing we throw, but uh, we usually it is counter or it is quick screen, and a lot of times it's quick screen off the counter. Like we're calling quick screen and throwing. It's always hey, if we got numbers out there, even though we're calling counter, throw the quick screen. Now, there's two plays that we've started running out of it. Uh, we put that single receiver to the wide side of the field, and sometimes we will throw a slant to him. And then we've started because it's such a dominant run quick screen formation. We've started running choice route to that single guy, and it's been really good. So those are the couple things, but that is a very limited formation. That little bunch formation, it's very limited. Uh, and it ends up that's usually our reverse formation because they start cheating over that way. So it's one of those, they know what we're doing, we know they know what we're doing, and that's when we can tag and then pull something tricky and get them. But we have started running a little choice route out of that. But for a long time it was counter and quick screen was all we did out of that. Let's see, it's going too fast now. Let's see. David, lots of run game talk, and yeah, yeah. Who would have thunk? Thanks, coach. David, I asked my quarterbacks what concept they like better, and 2 by 2 and 3 by 1. This way, you can dictate if you when you motion and when you and what you use. That's a good idea. And I'll tell you this one. I uh, I just assumed that my quarterback loved choice route and I asked them before we did those. We started the summer with 3 passing league tournaments, and I asked him what his favorite route was. Maybe in the spring I asked him, and 95 was his favorite route, and now 95 and 94 are his favorite routes. So it does help to ask them because sometimes he'll tell you something. I was just assuming that 96 was his favorite, but he likes 95 and 94 a lot better than 96. Not that he doesn't like 96, but it just surprised me, and I think it's just because that read is so easy. That safety read is so easy, and then if he doesn't take it, there's always something good available. So I think that's why he likes it. But I was surprised when he said that. All right, K Betty, we also utilize QB trap out of empty due to throwing so much quick screen and tunnel screens. Our empty quarterback trap play was deadly. I'll tell you this: I've never been able to make quarterback. I've never been able to make trap work out of gun. But my buddy John Poolnot, who's up in Ohio now, that's his favorite play out of it. So I know it. I believe you 100% because he loves trap. I've tried to steal that thing from him 5 different times probably, and I cannot make it work. I don't know what the secret is, and I've just kind of forgotten about it because counter got so good. But I'm with you. I know, if John likes it, I know it works. I just haven't figured it out myself. Chuck, are you no huddle, hand singles, or wristbands? We're wristbands. We're no huddle wristbands, and then we'll have a gas list where we're kind of one play, one word calls to go really fast. And I suggest to you all have a word that just says "do it again," and because that's our very fastest tempo is when we're using a lot of just do it agains. But well, it's the do it again is the fastest, obviously. Then we've got the one word calls, and then we've got wristband, and wristband's the slowest. But I was talking to someone the other night. We did like a private Zoom, and he was just putting he's up in Pennsylvania, he's just putting this in, and he was asking about tempo, and I told him, well, you're and he's in a league like mine, that it's like a throwback to the '70s league, uh, and I told him even when you're going off of wristbands, which is fairly slow for all the for all the air raid gurus in here, is very very slow. Uh, it's still going to seem fast as crap to the defense. So sometimes we get ourselves screwed up. Now if you're in a spread league, where everyone's running spread, then you're gonna have to go fast to feel fast. But if you're in a league like mine, where heck, when I got here, everyone was wing T and wishbone and all that kind of stuff. Uh, then you just going no huddle is going to be like shocking to them. So even though you're looking at the wristband and calling it and getting lined up, it's still going to feel fast to the defense. But have a word that says do it again. Have some one word plays and then have your wristband. And I've experimented before, and I might go back to it this year. Have a word that tells you we're going to run two plays in a row. Like we got a word and it's going to mean we're going to run 25 and then we're going to run stick, and that when I say that word, it's two plays in a row. I think that would be a good way to go super fast. And I've heard guys talk about doing that. I've heard guys say that one word meant we were running this three-play series, and it's the same three-play series over and over and over. But every time we say shotgun. And it means we're running 25 stick and then we're running Larry, whatever. Whatever your combination is, but that one word gets three plays to happen. I think that's a good way. I just always before I got to the third play, I'd usually kill it, so I think two plays might work better. One word makes two plays happen. I think that might be a good way to do it. What wristband? I got one from Shane. I got some poor guy. He keeps asking me to send it to him. Uh, I think Shane just did it up on like on Excel, and put the cells in there. Uh, I think Tony Franklin, you can probably find some Tony Franklin stuff where he sent one out where you can steal his. But mine's just shit, every year I gotta look in my email and find where I got it from Shane, and go in there and pull it up and change stuff around. Uh, but it's just a spreadsheet deal, and you can tell by looking at me, I don't know how to make it. It's just something I got from Shane. I know Tony Franklin has one. I think George might sell one. Go to George's website. I think he might even sell one. And if he doesn't, he'll sell one now. so, so just ask George. I bet you he's got one, and he'll sell you one. Uh, but it's just spreadsheet. It's just I think it's Excel, and it's just something Shane made on Excel one time. Uh, uh, Rattler is our or okay, yeah. All right, I won't say that out loud. Matt, not a big motion guy either. However, we put fly motion in fly motion, not to try and confuse the D, but to give us a head start. Plus, our guys can see the ball snapped as they're moving. It's a nice change up. Okay, I agree. I'm not anti motion at all. I promise you. I just don't do it much myself. I wish I could. If someone had like a good system, like uh, how to say it. I would probably be more about some motion, to be honest with you. It's clunky to me the way we call it. Okay, Betty also utilize one word, run three plays in one. Yeah, okay. So there's another guy that does it. You say one word, and that means we're running a three-play series. I'm probably going to use one word that means two plays this year. Uh, Also, coach, you utilize the wristbands. Do you still call plays based on field position, or are you sticking to your boundary side play calls? Let me see. Let me read that again. Also, coach, since you utilize the wristband, do you still call plays based on field position, or are you sticking to your boundary side play calls? We don't change the way we call plays. Uh, but we do, obviously, I mean, we're down in distance is a big deal to us. Uh, Field zones, not quite as big a deal, except, we're obviously, when we get down close, we're getting in that con, we're going smash mouth. And there's certain things we like. Like I like mesh down closer. So it'd probably be uncommon to see me call 92, you know, from my own 30. It wouldn't be impossible, but it just wouldn't be common. So there's certain plays I like in certain areas. Uh, but we just run so few plays, especially now that we've gone to a 3-day insert, we just don't have a lot of plays. So, the idea of carrying the whole offense into a game and being able to call anything is a big deal to me. Uh, Sticking to your okay, Chuck. Wristbands are great if you want to shift emotion. Okay, all right, yeah, I can see that. You just put it on there. I'm with you. Uh, and again, I'm not. I promise you, I'm not. And like I'll say this, and we'll be done because we've been going an hour. Uh, I am not anti one platoon. I'm just a two platoon guy. I'm not anti motion. I'm just not a motion guy. Uh, I would go as far as I'm not anti wing T or any of those kind of form. There's a lot of ways to win, but I think it's important that you pick your way and you believe in your way. And that's basically what I've done. And it might be just me being old and being set in my ways. That's probably honestly that's probably part of it. Uh, but it's just I know who I am and I know how I call and and it's been successful. I think it's going to be very successful this year just because I think we got probably more athletic this year than we've ever been. So I'm probably going to be really smart this year. Oh, I see the magic word here. Sean says, "Have you played with the R4 system?" I have not, but I've got a buddy in Charlotte who started air raid and I can't believe this. I don't speak to him anymore because he went from air raid to R4. And he told me now R4 is like, man, you are like getting a PhD in football. It is very basically he didn't say PhD. He said it's like getting a master's in football. That is very time consuming and very like in depth. You're gonna have to put study time into it. But he sees the game differently now. I mean, he almost convinced me to do it because he says he just sees it and he'll see it on the fly. Like if we're at a game, he'll start talking about dude's hips and dude's depth, and it makes him see the game differently. So I've never messed with it. I've thought about it, but my buddy Jamie Bolton did it, and he's a different cat now. I mean, matter of fact, he won a state championship in the private league. Uh, when he didn't have any business competing with the guys he was competing against, and he was beating them. And a lot of it was because he sees the game differently because of that R4 system. So I've never done it, but I think highly of it just because of Jamie. And I know from talking to him, he sees the game differently now. When you say you replace four verts with choice, are you talking about run and shoot 3x1 choice? I think it came from run and shoot 3x1 choice. We're running the Baylor version or the Tennessee version now is probably the best. But it came from Baylor where they moved those guys wider. So I think run and shoot choice, the outside guy, he could run a vert, he could run a skinny, he could run an out, or he could run a curl. Well, Baylor moved them wider. So now it's you're running a vert, you're running a stop, or you're running a skinny. Those are your three options. And it has been a game changer. So either who is it? Oh, doggone, I can't remember. I got it from the guy in Texas who wrote the culture book. Dang, I can't remember. I can't remember his name, but he was selling a course where you could come in and learn it, and he was teaching the whole system. But I came in and watched it and learned it, and I stole the choice from him, and it's been a game changer. Yeah, we are a vertical counter screen team now. And if you think about air raid, the way Hal envisioned it, that's what it is. It's if they're way back, throw quick screens in front of them. If they're up pressing, you throw verticals. If they're out of the box, run the ball. So to me, between those three things, going the vertical choice game, the counter game, and the screen game, it truly is. That's what air raid is about. And then if you can do it a little faster, that's even better. Uh, it makes communicating with the quarterback easier. Talking about the R4 system, yeah, and I know just from talking to Jamie, he teaches his quarterback. And Jamie puts a lot of time in now. Like his quarterback schools are ridiculous. Like they're 6 months worth of quarterback schools to teach them that system. But once some guys, I mean, they speak the same language. They're seeing the exact same thing, and it's pretty to watch the offense work. So again, I'm not an R4 guy, but I got a lot of respect for R4 because of Jamie. And even run and shoot. I'm not a run and shoot guy, but I got a lot of respect for run and shoot, and I'll steal something from them in a heartbeat. Uh, okay, Betty, how often do you consider your offensive player versus defensive player versus the defender when calling plays? I've been around coaches that don't do that. They just rely on the concept itself. I've been guilty of the concept itself, and this year we've got a couple. We've got three real special receivers, and I've noticed this year. Uh, I've been well. Last year. I guess it started last year where I've started going more to that Nick Saban thing. Don't think about plays, think about players, and I think. I mean, no one can argue with Nick Saban. I think that is the way to go. Uh, that when it comes nut cutting time, don't think about plays, think about players. Who do you want to get that dang ball to? Who do you want to give a chance to win the game? So I am going that way. But I've been guilty in the past of just thinking concepts, and I'm still guilty on really not pinpointing. This is their weakest guy. This is their best guy. I still we don't give a crap for the most part. We're going to do what we do. But I am trying to be more cognizant of uh, man, when it's nut cutting time, you better get it to your dog. Here we go. This year, our best players are the X and the Z. Mine too. We throw a ton of screens. With us being an air raid team, would you say we are on the right track, or would you change things up to be more basic? No, that's exactly who we are. Our two best dudes are outside, and we throw a lot of quick screens, a lot of verts to them. So you're thinking exactly like I do. We game plan through our scout reports who we are going to pick on, and I mean obviously that's smart football. I need to do a better job of that. I guess I'm in the Howell school. Howell was never a huge pick out their worst dude guy. He was a big. All right, they're 4-3. Let's go home. Yeah, he was more that guy, and I guess I picked that up from him. Is that I want to know? Okay, what are they? What defense are they going to be in? And I don't do a good enough job of finding their weak guys. What we do a good job of is on game night. Once we find the weakness, we're gonna keep pounding the weakness. What does Dr. Rob say? Work the cut. Or Brian Kane says work the cut. We're gonna work the cut. Now, once we find the weak guy, and a lot of times that shows itself in the counter. Like, okay, the counter's going to the left a lot dang better than it's going to the right. So we're going to run the counter to the left all friggin' night until they switch that guy, and then we'll go the other way. So we're pretty good at doing that on game nights. Like once we find the weakness, we'll attack the weakness. But I need to do a better job of finding them on films and going into it that way. I got a little too much howl in me where okay, they're 3-3. All right, let's go to the house. So that deal. All right, man. I appreciate you being here. Please hit the thumbs up thing. George keeps telling me that makes a difference. So please hit the thumbs up thing. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. And man, I appreciate you being here. This was fun. I promise you, we'll do this again in July, and I'll figure out how I can show film because I really did want to show you the tunnel stuff. But I appreciate you being here, man. Have a great day, and let's win a bunch of games this year. Thank you.